Sparking Change with Gigi, a show that aims to make the world a better place by bringing together authentic minds. This show encourages each of us to be the change we wish to see in the world. Get ready to be inspired and join us on this journey to create a brighter future for all.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Spark and Change with Gigi. I'm your host, Giovanna Tartarone, and today we're going to be talking about biohacking. You know, we have this inner healer within us that can really help us to live healthier lives. And I have an expert here, Yeli Agredi, who's going to join us to tell us all about biohacking. And Yeli is a trusted voice in the biohacking and holistic wellness, serving as a peer-reviewed faculty member at the Biohack Yourself Media, with background in branding, integration, and wellness consulting. She brings a sharp science-based lens to every health recommendation as a speaker at top medical conferences and a contributor to leading wellness platforms. Yeli empowers others, especially women, to take control of their health. Her insights are grounded in both personal transformation and professional expertise, making her book selections both inspiring and authoritative. Welcome, Yeli. How are you? Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you so much, Gigi, for having me on the show.
My pleasure. So tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into biohacking. What is biohacking? Because I don't know if a lot of people know what biohacking is.
Well, it's funny because biohacking can be a very jarring, I like to say jarring word. You know, you think of hacking and you think of something violent, right?
Breaking the norm.
Right? But really what it is just like what we think. It's our software, the programs that we run in our minds. It's like the software that we're running. And then our body is our computer, it's our hardware. So to be able to hack the hardware, just like a computer, biohacking is our biology is being hacked with these tools, these innovations. And actually, a lot of it is knowledge from way back, from hundreds, thousands of years that people have been using to heal themselves. That's been suppressed knowledge. So I feel that right now it's a huge health revolution to bring that all into the forefront in the healthiest way to be able to achieve our best self.
Yes, absolutely. And how did you get into biohacking? Like what drove you down this path?
So funny because I was a very, what is it, the term? Not woo-woo. I was very pragmatic. I worked in pharmaceutical sales. I've been a very traditional path kind of person, worked very hard and just kind of not going against the grain, but going and forging my own path. And with this health and wellness of the biohacking, I thought I was just living a healthy lifestyle with the knowledge that I had, you know, at that time. But through meditation, because I was trying to up level at work, soul is funny how it leads you down this path. It will get you to where you are at the point of evolution that you're at. So even though I thought I was pretty evolved, really was not. I had not even reached my awakening. And I started meditating because I was seeing that all these CEOs were doing that to up level at work and, you know, top performers. And I was a high achiever, so I wanted to be even more of a high performer. So I started doing the getting up at 5 a.m. I started seeing about cold plunging and, you know, cold showers and the sun and red light. And, you know, all these things were very sneaky. So it started coming into me that way. And I was able to reap the benefits, and it led me down a path of a ketogenic, a challenge. It was a challenge through F45. And so I started meditating. The signs start coming into your path.
Yes.
And then I got into this 2-month challenge with F45 Gym that educated me on a ketogenic diet. And that ketogenic diet transformed my body. I healed myself of fibroids, endometriosis, and cysts in a 2-month time frame.
Wow.
it was something that I had been suffering since the moment I had gotten my period when I was a young girl, when I was 11 years old. So I was 42 when this happened. It was in 2018. And
Yeah.
for all of those years, every 28 days, my whole world would be turned upside down for at least 2 to 3 days in excruciating pain, debilitating pain that I was told was nothing could be done, only surgeries and things like that. And I tried to go the natural route and not do anything like that. And 2 months through
Determined. You would sounds like you were determined to find a solution for yourself.
it's funny. I did not. This is where the soul will guide you where you think you wouldn't even have known to go to. So if you've been told, which so many have lived this life of being told, you have this, you'll never cure this, and you just have to deal with this. So why would you seek out a solution? If
Well,
medical professionals are telling you there is no other option, so you're thinking, oh, I guess this is just, I'm just not the lucky one.
but at
And
some point you became curious. You became, like, could it be possible that there, out of all the possibilities that we is out there, that there's not one thing that can help me? Because a lot of people do go down that path of
yes,
trying and not giving up. Like they want to find a solution.
but
And
this is yes, but until it happened to me,
yes,
that's when the searching began, because I
yes,
was like, I just healed myself of something people had told me that was impossible. And I suffered all of these years for what? I need more people to know that this is possible. So what else? What else? And once you understand that you've healed yourself of one thing, and now the body can think, when you no longer have pain, it's like they say, the person that is healthy has a million dreams, but the person that's sick only has one, to be healthy, right?
right.
So once I felt great and a new energy and my mental clarity, the gut brain connection was so strong, I was able to be in tune with the world. I started researching and I delved deep into it. And I quit my pharmaceutical job after what I thought I was up leveling for. I ended up leaving because I realized there was so much more out there that I needed to be able to uncover. And I just started speaking about it and I started learning more about it, how a ketogenic diet was able to help me, how many people suffered. So that was what led me down my biohacking uh,
Journey.
really career journey, because it all started with not only getting myself healed, like I said, in 2 months. I had scans that I had a uterus of a 6-week pregnant woman, and I have my before and after pictures of those 2 month of that 2 month challenge, which I'm so grateful that I have that, where it shows I'm like, I am as flat as a board.
Yeah.
So, and these are things that we're just told were impossible. So I wanted to give other people hope. And not only that, I wanted to see how else can I improve? What else can be unlocked?
So
Because
tell
the
us what
body
you
is too much.
discovered when yeah, the body definitely has, I mean, we know we get a cut and the body can, we can heal that cut. And if we can believe that if that can happen, and then what else can happen, right? It's like we start
Mhm.
to question, like, okay, could there be more to what meets the eye? And so when we go down this path of discovering, whether it's in the medical field, in biohacking, or even discovering, more about yourself, right? One book opens up another book, opens up
Mhm.
another book, and here you start, putting the pieces of the puzzle together, and you're like, wow,
Yeah.
there are other ways and other possibilities, whichever way you go. So tell us a little bit about like what this is the beginning stage. So
Yes.
how did it
So
evolve from here?
so from there, I really just wanted to hone in and become a beacon of health. Like I was able
Mm.
to achieve that part. I have not been sick since right before that. So I've never had a cold. I haven't had a cold since 2018, since I discovered all of this. I take oregano oil the moment if I ever feel like a little something. So I started looking a lot into Ayurvedic herbs and medicines and things of that nature. But
Yeah.
really on the biohacking and the technologies, that's where it really took off. So for that first year, let's see, that was about the beginning, December, October of 2018, when I was able to uncover all this. For 6 months, I was learning about going outside and grounding, the importance of learning how to breathe. Do you know most people don't know how to breathe properly? If I can tell you right now, take a deep breath. Most people will go, and then suck in their stomach, lift up their chest.
Yeah.
And that's not how you take a deep breath. You take a deep breath by and pushing the diaphragm down, extending the belly out. And then there's where you're really getting to be able to create oxygen saturation in your body.
They call
And I
it baby
think
breathing. I've heard the term called baby because babies breathe that way, exactly
with
that way.
it's almost like we've lost a lot of the things, and since we're not being trained and reminded of how important that is, a lot of us are just running on fumes. We're not eating the things we should be eating, which is another thing. Of course, I was able
Sure.
to understand that how impactful diet was and lifestyle, because I was also working out regularly through HIIT training. So small bursts of energy to be able to weights, because we need to be able to add muscle to be able to create longevity. So I wanted to be able to get this information out there, and it was really honing myself and being the example, right? So I
Yeah.
wanted to be that beacon as much as I could, and understanding how important it was to put your feet in the ground, being connected to nature again. We've been so disconnected.
And biohacking is a complementary to the natural healing. Am I correct to
Yes,
say that?
100%, 100%. It's not just all, we see the technologies, which are
Mhm.
phenomenal. I feel like the technologies are just that rocket ship to get us to
Yeah.
get those results quicker, and for those that don't really have the access to maybe those technologies, I always love to say the foundation is in nature, and you unlock that potential when you connect, right? You
Yeah.
understand that the body is your avatar to experience the world. It's your temple, but really your avatar, because our temple, I think of like a pyramid. It sits in one place and then that's it.
Yeah.
Oh, it looks pretty. No, no, no. It's your avatar. You get to have the quality of the interaction by the how you keep this equipment up.
Yes.
So, and it's
I
it's
love.
so symbiotic, right? The relationship.
And when you do have that connection to yourself, like I will tell you that in the morning I get up and I go for a walk. I get that sun in me first thing in the morning. And
So
then
important.
on my way back, I literally would take my sneakers and my socks off and just walk in the grass a little bit.
Yeah.
Just to have, I really want to hug a tree, but I don't want anybody looking at me thinking I'm crazy. But
No, I love it.
even that, I hear there's health benefits if you hug a tree. And like
Yes.
no one ever taught us that. But the truth of the matter is we are part of nature. We are part of, that's why we go to the beach and we're like, or the ocean, we see the ocean and we're like in awe saying, oh, how beautiful, right? Because we
Yes.
are part of it. We're made of the same stuff at the very core.
Very
And
true.
no one tells us that. I have not learned that at all in my education. And now that I know this, the desire to do it more and more and more, because that to me, for me, is natural healing. That is where I can, you know, if my mind is racing 1,000 miles a
Mhm.
minute, if I can just go out for a walk, or, if I live near the ocean and watch the waves go by, we're at peace. Like, how do you
Yes.
explain that, right? This is
There's
something so
science.
natural.
There is science to it. So we're exchanging ions. when we are grounding. Also, for those that have pets, there's a reason why we love that connection too, because most of the time they're grounded as well. You know, they're going in and out and they're exchanging ions with us. So there's a lot, of course, and there's a lot of oxytocin that gets released because we're cuddling with this creature.
Sure.
But I was outside this morning. I got up early before the sunrise. I'm, thank goodness, by the beach. I am right by the beach. So I was able to go downstairs, put my feet in the sand, and just that reminder of the abundance and the grandeur that we are surrounded. We get lost in our worlds so easily. And then we forget how grand and the gratitude has to be part of our daily practice, because that really puts us back into understanding and seeing the opportunities and the blessings and the communication with our soul.
Yes.
So
Yes. You know, and the way to see that is to feel it. You know, it's an inner feeling that when you are feeling healthy, right? Your state of mind is in the right position to go out and enjoy life. So the importance of taking care of this vessel that leads us to the beach, that leads us to having, a trip to Hawaii or whatever, we have to feel healthy. And sometimes, we have to take ownership of saying, if this doesn't work, the traditional way may not work, not to give up and say,
right.
well, what else is there? Because, for me, I have this mindset that 3,000 years ago, we were able to get grounded. We were in the woods. We were, eating the herbs to feel better, and using garlic, and using, like you said, oregano.
Yeah.
That was there many
I
moons ago.
swear. If
Right?
I would have been part of that company, I have recommended that so many times because people do not understand the power of oregano oil, of just, I mean, they've put it, right next to any type of antibiotic, and it trumps it. It like 100% beats any antibiotic of how powerful it can be. But really, I want this communication, this intentional production that you're doing, because you've created a platform to be able to get this information out. And it is such a beautiful thing, because there are so many people that are trying to get the smallest, and they don't realize that they can get the smallest inkling towards health by just eliminating a lot of the things that are bringing down our inflammatory states in our home, in our bodies, in our homes, and how it affects everything around. Like, we have to fill our cup first, and it comes with taking that time to eliminate the things that are actually bringing us down, and then fill ourselves up with the things that are actually going to amplify our health and wellness.
So let's talk about that, because some
Yeah.
people, well, I don't want to say some people, we are conditioned. We are conditioned to believe that this is the way it is. This is what's good for you. This is what's bad for you. And it's a mindset shift that it's opening up, to other possibilities of how to heal ourselves.
Yeah.
Because I know at some point in my life, I looked on the outside to give me advice on how to heal my body, right? And my mind. And I realized after doing the work, I call inner work,
Yeah.
that I have to be the first one. Everything else comes after, but I have to take ownership and saying, I need to stop smoking. I need to make that commitment to myself that, I am poisoning my body, and it was really, really hard for me to do that until, of course, I got a diagnosis of, breast cancer. And I'm like,
Wow.
okay, here it is. Okay.
Wow.
Now, are you listening that you need to stop smoking? Right. So
Yeah.
what can people do to really listen to that inner voice? Because it doesn't have to be a diagnosis for you to
No,
start changing your life. It has to be
no.
a commitment. But how do people do that? Like, what kind of advice can you give?
So I can only tell you from actual experience
Mm,
because I was able to first tap in and start listening. So listening to my soul, which has the answers. And I couldn't even hear that because of course there's a disease of distraction. Everything is clamoring for our attention, yet the most important asset that we have, which is our bodies, ourselves, so that way we can interact with the rest of the world and be of service and be all of that, right? If we're not even paying attention to ourselves, how can we give to anything else? So when I started actually meditating and listening to what
yeah.
my soul has been trying to tell me, and you know how I know that my soul's been trying to tell me something? Because my body had issues. My body had endometriosis, cysts, fibroids, lymphedema. I have so many different things. ADD. Like there were so many things that were going on, and low blood sugar. These were all signals. This was the
Yeah.
body trying to give me messages, and I was shutting it up. Think of like a small child. Think of a small child. If a small child came crying to you, would you not pay attention to it and see what was wrong with it? Or would you tape its mouth and like shut it in a corner? Because that's what we're doing to our body every day when it's
Yeah.
trying to give us signals. So the meditating is what allowed me to even understand that the body's been trying to signal me this whole time. So if we could
Yeah.
get people to start meditating and start understanding that the body has its own
Requirements.
manual. Yeah, it has its requirements. It has a
Yeah.
manual, and
Yeah.
nobody's even bothered to open up and read the table of contents, like, and then each
Until it's
chapter
screaming at you, right?
until it's screaming at you, and then you're trying to get the cliff notes, and you're like, oh my god, my body's blowing up.
Right, right,
So
right.
So this, I think, is number one. Let's start tuning into ourselves first to see what it is, and the answers will start to come up.
I love that I forget who it was that did maybe it's a guy from Mind Valley, and he does his commercial thing, and he goes, if you're getting up and the first thing you do is go to your phone, he's like, stop
Mm,
it. He's like, stop it. Because what you're doing is you're programming your mind that, this is very important to you. What's going on outside in the world is going to, you're allowing it to control the inside of you, right? It's like you're watching the news and you're, oh my God, oh my goodness. And you're getting your day started in such a negative way.
wow.
And,
Yeah.
right. And so it does affect the well-being of how your mind, because your mind tells the brain what to do. So if your mind is in panic mode, first thing in the morning, then your whole day is going to be like on the lookout for things to go
Right.
wrong, right? So I love the fact that you said, and I do it. I practice meditation myself, and it's
I
not
can
about
tell you
it's not about
you wouldn't be able to do this to the level that you're doing it if it wasn't for you tuning into yourself first. That's how you're able to give.
yeah. And you know what? I hate to say it, but I had to have my wake up call, right?
As
To
did I.
s- and to say, wait a minute, something is not right here. I'm trying to do everything right by the book, being that perfect wife, that perfect mom, going to work, doing all this, and this is what I get. Of course I was smoking because I was stressed out, but it was a wake up call for me to start to change the way I was thinking and the way I was treating myself. Like I wasn't filling up my cup first. That's for sure. Right. And so when I started changing and really thinking about, okay, God gave me a second chance at life. What am I going to do with this life? Am I going to do the
Wow.
same thing I was doing before? No, it's okay. What can I do to change? And then all this information comes into my life, like how meditation is important,
Yeah.
how being out in nature is important, how just being in a peaceful state of mind to tackle the world without fear, without disappointment, without thinking about illnesses coming my way, right?
That's
Um,
beautiful.
so I just, this work with biohacking, again, it really, for me, has helped me to deeply connect to my body and my intuition, because now I have clarity. I can I can hear that voice saying, go for it or don't do it. So when your body is in a healthy state of mind,
Mm.
um, then everything starts functioning like a beautiful community, because our body is made up of a community. We don't see it that way, but let's talk about
Oh,
that.
I see that. I do see that because this is
Yeah.
where, and I like to say, it's like you're let in on the synchronicities, and life then becomes this fun journey.
Yeah.
Why? Because you took the time to pay attention.
Hmm.
You're now integrated into the world. So everything starts in the mind. This is a saying that I've had, that it's come to me because I feel it. Everything starts in the mind. When you feel it in your heart is when you'll see it in your world. So that mind heart world connection, to really get that synchronicities and understanding that there is so much greater that's going on. Because
Yes.
I'm sorry, the you could not make up half of the things that happen the way they've happened. It's just
Yeah.
so much has lined up. Even how I got into the field. So that's great. I got into it. I became passionate. And then all of a sudden, I started saying yes to things that were leading me into this path. And more um, exposure I was getting, the more I was able to help others. So with my pharmaceutical background, working with practitioners and all of that, I've been able to now transfer that from pharmaceuticals to biohacking and longevity and anti-aging modalities and technologies. So I integrate all of these technologies into practices so that the doctors that want to be able to get involved into this wave of health and wellness, who feel like they were cheated, that went into medicine to try and help people, and they realized that the business of medicine was not to really treat people, it was really to keep people in the system. So
But also,
that was
they're treating the symptoms, right? They're not treating
not
the
going root cause. Exactly. They're
right.
not
So
really healing the people. They're treating the people. They're not healing the people.
yes, yes,
So
and yeah.
that was a huge awakening that a lot of practitioners have had. So I've been sought after to help them integrate these different modalities. I have created memberships and all of that, so that way, memberships in the sense of in practices, so that they could have red light, hyperbaric, cryo, understanding what it does for the patient, how it can help surgery recovery. Oh my goodness, I've
So
seen
let's
amazing recovery from any type of surgeries or any type of physical therapy using biohacking and modalities.
Okay, so we're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about some of these modalities, like a little deeper, so that people can understand what's out there that can help them if they're looking for some resources. Okay, we'll be right back, everyone. Yeah, that was a quick one. Okay.
Yes.
So let's, I'm thinking of like what's going on out there in the world right now. What's really big is, mental health, right? The emotional side of our well-being. Is there something out there that people can look into that can help them on the emotional side of their wellness?
So definitely, it always goes back to that mind gut connection. So a lot, if I tell you that I have sat down in
Mm,
case studies where they have changed just diet alone and some lifestyle, they've been able to reverse schizophrenic tendencies. We're talking in a month's time frame. Like when you understand
Wow.
how powerful the diet is affecting our minds, you'll start to see those amazing benefits when you understand that you're what you're eating, how powerfully it's reflecting in your life and your choices. So it's not just, oh, it's a cheat meal or this and that.
Right.
It really is doing a lot more than I think they have given credit, giving it credit to.
I believe, first of all, we understand that our gut is like our second brain,
Yes.
right? It really controls a lot. And the latest thing was how red dye is now
Oh,
taken off the
horrible.
market. They're really trying to, take any foods that have red dye in
And
off.
blue as well.
Okay. And there's reasons for that, right? But all these years we've been digesting that, right? So it it is something that I believe part of detoxing ourselves, because
Mhm.
it's in our system. So even though they changed the rules,
Right.
it's how do we get to a point where we can, like you said, live longer, right? And what techniques
Yeah.
are out there and healthier, which will make us happier for sure, right? But I do agree
100%.
with you. It's our diet that, we have to watch carefully. I have my 19-year-old daughter who's like truly being um looking at the labels of the food, and she's like, "Mom, throw this out." I'm like, "I
Love
just
her.
paid for that." She's like, "Mom, throw this out. This is not good for you."
Not worth it.
Or
It's not worth it.
yeah. So,
So,
yeah, so what are some of the tips that we can give that are things that are out there that people can
okay.
start biohacking?
The big one, and I know this is going to hit home to a lot of people, sugar is the devil. Sugar
Yeah.
is the devil. And those those simple carbs, like the rices and it, not everything in moderation,
Yes.
but remember that turns into sugar. So a lot of people do try, but I don't really have a lot of sugar, thinking just a spoonful of sugar. They don't understand that when you're looking at all of these foods, if you're not making them, all these processed foods have tons of sugars in there, and lots of preservatives. So the preservatives are increasing our inflammatory state. And don't get me started on seed oils, because that was a culprit that I did not even realize how bad that was, but the body cannot process seed oils. So that's the canola oil, vegetable oil, corn oil, all of those. Soy has all the
That's what creates the visceral fat in the body?
that's actually what creates an inflammatory state, because the body does not know how to
Mm.
process it. So imagine this is something that the body was not designed to do. So it'll stay in our body over 6 years. So for every bit that you take, it'll take over 6 years for your body to try and get to do something with it. And a
Wow.
lot of the time it will store it. A lot of the toxins are stored in the fat. So we'll notice that once we lose a lot of fat, a lot of those toxins start getting released. So it's always great. I have actually a portable sauna in my house. I have a personal portable sauna through Relax, great company, love them. So I actually use that because they're going to show that you want to be able to detox. It's a great way to be able to detox. All the studies are on the finish, but a far infrared sauna pulls out more toxins out of the
Toxins.
fat than even a traditional sauna does. And we've all seen that there's tons of studies over and over and over of the finished saunas, which are the sweat saunas,
Yeah,
basically.
I did a foot detox one time at an expo, and I put my foot in nice clean water. Well, 20 minutes later, that water was as black as my hair.
Yeah.
Okay? And
Oh,
that
I've done it too. I've done it too.
detox coming out of our body, and you're like, wow.
Yeah.
So I see our bodies being like a car, right? If you are giving, um, cheap oil when it needs
Yes.
high test, the high grade oil, it's a big difference. And I feel it in the car as well, and I've been guilty of that, right? Just to spend little money on inexpensive oil versus going to Exxon, getting a brand name,
Yeah.
high test. So we're thinking we're saving. The mindset is, oh, we're going to save some money and go for corn oil versus avocado oil, maybe, or
Right.
olive oil. But the truth of the matter is, we're paying the price later on, and a heftier price with our health when we go, the cheaper way. Am I right to say
Yes,
that?
100%. And when you said the word oil, I don't know if you saw my face, but I'm like, we need to talk about oils because
Yeah.
good fats have been, and we're about the same age. So it's the time of the low fat diet that was instilled in us. Remember
Yes.
that, oh, you need to lose weight. You can't, you can't have things with that because you're already trying to lose weight. So why would you be? No, I think of good fats, which we were not educated on, of how the body needs to
Yes.
have avocados, coconut, olive oil. Those are such good saturated, those good fats. And we have been depriving our car of running with no oil in it, basically, because that
Yeah.
was a big thing. So just like any machine, it will burn out if it doesn't have the oil to put all those little cogs on the wheel, right?
Yes.
So,
Yes.
and
Absolutely.
I like to say, just like when you don't have enough, when you're thirsty, right? And you have not been drinking enough water, the body will retain water. But the moment you start drinking a lot of water, it says, oh, got water coming in. So I'm just you start peeing and you start releasing water. That's what happens with fat. When you don't consume good fats, enough good fats, the body will hold on to fat thinking, oh, this one's never bringing fat in here. So it's like, we got to hold on to this fat because we don't know if it's going to come in. And when you start incorporating good fats, not only does it satiate you, so you're less hungry all the time, but
Yeah.
two, the body will start releasing it, the fat that you have, because it sees that it's coming in.
Wow.
Right? It's a different way of
Amazing.
thinking. The other one, this is another thing for people to remember how important the easiest biohack that you can have is sleep. We need to prioritize our sleep patterns and our schedules
Oh my
because
goodness. That's a big one.
that's a big one, because that is your repair center. That is your time. And what is it that people are doing? They're going to dinner super late and then they're going to sleep. Well, guess what, buddy? You're not repairing, you're digesting during their most important time of
Yeah.
rest and repair. So your last meal shouldn't be past 6 o'clock. There are people that have taken this to the extreme.
Yeah.
And I say the extreme only because it's not the social norm, but people like Brian Johnson, who will have his last meal like around noon, 11 something, because he knows he has like 100% sleep scores. Like he's getting optimal sleep because he knows that that's where he
Yeah.
repairs. That's how he's regenerating.
And again, this information we're not taught, because I can tell you that I remember my old days. I used to have 3 to 4 hours sleep. I would go to sleep at 3 o'clock in the morning after studying, and then getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Mhm.
And talk about emotional mess.
Yeah.
You poked me and I would cry because I was so tired. But I truly agree. When you start to learn that, oh my goodness, I think it is between 1 and 3, your body's going into detox, doing its cleansing. I
Yep.
never knew that. And
No.
so it's like I make it a priority to go to bed before 11. Before 11, I
Yes.
have to be in bed, because now I know that the body has to do its job when I'm sleeping so that I
Yes.
can
Yes.
be healthier. So you're right, health, eating healthy, getting the right sleep. Let's touch base a little bit about vitamins. I feel like we get I have it, I'm not gonna lie, the Monday through Friday,
Yes.
Monday through Sunday pill box, and you got all these vitamins in there. And sometimes I wonder, do I really need all these vitamins?
Oh, that's a tough one because All right. So this is the thing. I have been to so many conferences, medical
Hmm.
conferences, biohacking, longevity, anti-aging, all of the aesthetics, all of these
Hmm.
conferences. And of course, the products that are there, they are all meeting certain needs. But I always love to challenge, like if it's where you are in your journey, in your health journey, is what supplements you'll be taking, right? So for those that are just starting, they're going to be getting a lot of the things that are down the line of their root cause issues if they haven't addressed the root cause. So they're still
Okay.
just addressing symptoms. And I really love to be able to challenge manufacturers to focus in on a lot of the root cause stuff.
Hmm.
So we know that if you have hormones, is it the adrenal? If you're, oh, this will give you some caffeine boost because you're tired and this, that. Well, wait, why am I tired? If I'm already sleeping well and I've already addressed all these things, is it my adrenals? Um, is it my vagus nerve? I'm like, am I not, have I aligned? And that's a whole other monster too, because,
A thyroid.
well, the thyroids and all of that, but our brain, our head is actually floating on two discs that, if I tell you that that slightest little floating vertebrae that's in our top can determine a lot of the things that are going on in our body, you would be floored. Because I'm actually going to get this done because I've had it done once before, and it will address so many issues. It'll
Wow.
address vagus nerve, it'll address digestion. All of this is because of the veins that are running down here, all of the sensory that's going on, that if it's just one little bit off, it'll look like this, and you'll have those issues. So you could be taking supplements off the wazoo. And if you didn't address the root cause of what the
Yes.
issue is, then those supplements
May not even work.
may not even work really. And if you haven't fixed your gut lining, your mind might not even be absorbing those. So I feel like there's a lot of foundational stuff that has to get done before you just start drinking a bunch of supplements thinking that it's going to cure all. I feel like a lot of people need a good detox. They need to
Yes.
have binders so that way it's not even talk about parasites, because
That's another whole school. Yep. Absolutely.
that's a whole other biohackers have understood now that a lot of the disease is just the body not at ease, and foreign
Absolutely.
invaders in our body will wrap themselves in a biofilm that they've punctured certain cysts, and they've realized it's actually a nest of parasites.
Wow.
So there's just so much. I mean, we don't want to get banned off TV,
Yes.
but can't give away
Yeah.
all of the information in one show. But if I can tell you these little things are starting to resonate with you, I would start meditating and then watch the show again, because you will see an answer in here that you needed, and that's why you're watching this show. That's
Yeah.
how
No.
powerful this information will find you. If you're seeing the show, it has found you, and there is something in here that you needed to hear.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. And it's sharing the information because we know that this does change lives. We
100%.
know that, I mean,
We've
give
done
us
it.
a good story. Yeah, and give us a good story about a real a client or
Oh,
somebody who
okay.
used infrared light. I'm sure you got plenty of stories.
You're in my brain. We did not practice this before. We did not practice. I have to say this. We did not
Yeah.
practice. You were in my brain because I'm going to give you a case study of a red light therapy bed. It's one of the strongest red light beds that I personally know. I know the manufacturer. It's made in the US, right in St. Louis, Missouri, Red Light Wellness. And I can tell you, he has video testimonial footage of this person, this patient, we're going to say, that has come in, of course, given all his information so that this could be shared. That's why he wanted to be part of the
Yeah.
testimonial. So he was in with Parkinson's, full shakes, cannot drive, dress himself, feed himself, drink water. And you see how he is walking, starting the process with the red light therapy bed. So he's doing this for 3 times a week, 15-minute sessions in this full body red light bed with a head panel as well. That's why I love this bed as well. The bulbs are about this big, super, super powerful. He has him after the, I don't know how many sessions it's been, but now the man can drive, dress himself, feed himself, drink a glass of water without the shakes. Tell me that is not something you would want to be able to talk about and really be able to get out there. So many people feeling, because it is an inflammatory disease as well. The nerves are inflamed. So being able to bring that down, you're seeing the benefits of that. So, and of course, then you're lighting up your mitochondria. So of course it's your energy powerhouse. So now it's almost like giving it a nuclear power plant to something that was dying off, that didn't have energy. And now all circuits are running and your body is just performing. That is just one example. I can give you so many others of people with sciatic pain, people with, of course, let's go with just with the beauty. Let's clip them with the people that want to look young forever. I mean, just this is on red light alone. It's creating collagen, the structure that actually holds the body's framework. Red light therapy, powerful, 660 to 880 nanometers deep. So it is nanometers. It's being able to penetrate through. I mean, being able to really see that. You will see the benefits of that. So what else? I mean, that's cognitive function, hair. I've seen people's grays reverse, because grays are not, and white hair are not because of just age and this and that. It's the melanin. Yeah, it's melanin is being so if you're giving the nutrients back into the cells, into the hair follicle, you're seeing hair growth. You're seeing the color return. I mean, that's huge. I've had the same experience from using that kind of powerful bed. I miss it. I have not been in it a little bit, so not gonna lie. That's a great one. And just the importance of hyperbarics. I have so many. Wow. You can look up Dr. Amen. He was on the cover of Biohack Yourself, a magazine, and he's been on so many different things, talking about 40 days in a hyperbaric chamber. Okay. 1 hour session. So it's about 90 minutes while you're raising in pressure and then decompressing after, to be able to get into a hyperbaric. He has seen testimonials of people walking that were not walking, people talking that were not talking, holes in the brain, filling back in, matter filling back in, things that we were told were impossible is completely possible. And he has the brain scans to show it. So that is a huge, huge testimonial as well. I was the MC for the International Hyperbaric for a brief moment while I was covering for some one of the main MCs. That's one thing. I can be a person on demand.
But you had to hear that information, right? You had to hear that information to share it with others. I mean, biohacking, is something that I believe it's going to be the future revelation on healing for sure. And so people can take ownership back into taking care of their health first, right? Being the first one to say, what do I need? And how can I help myself? And then, but you got to do the homework. You got to do ask the questions. I mean, again, you did your homework, and you did more than your homework. You made this your mission to educate people on, hey, listen, don't settle, for this. There is a way, try this. And so I love the fact that people can come to you and you can give them a really holistic, viewpoint, and not just from experience, but from the knowledge and the science backing it up, like you just mentioned. So this is lovely.
Thank you. So this is actually one of the main things, was because I've been in this space with the practitioners, and I've been able to be with the minds that are doing the research and doing the studies to bring this information to light. Being able to write for Biohack Yourself Media was a huge thing. To Top Doctor Magazine I've written for. And now, besides being a clinical consultant integrating, now I'm actually a host for a health and wellness show as well, to be able to really make it into that entertainment so that people are able to be integrated and curious and have that zest for life. But it
Yes.
starts when connecting with yourself first. I feel like that's the first thing, because all the answers are inside of us. You're going to be led to your healthiest self. And the shows like this,
Yes.
Gigi, this is amazing that you've been able
Thank
to put
you.
this together. So, and I know you're doing so much more. So
Well, I appreciate you so much for, sharing your wisdom with my audience. I mean, the word has to get out that there are many, many possibilities to one who's searching to take control of their health, right? And again, you're 100% correct. It's first getting connected to ourselves and figuring out what's wrong and why, because we have the answers on why sometimes our body's not at ease, just like you mentioned. And addressing the mental part of it is essential for us to begin this journey of wellness, right? Because everything has a cost. It does not just happen because you are a victim of, you
no,
know, there's a reason why. And
we're
so,
attracting all of these things. We're a
yes,
magnet. We're radiating out. They've measured our magnetic force. That's why I say when everything starts in the mind, but when you feel it in your heart, this is when you have to really. So it can be a good thing and it could be a bad thing. How many people are not huge
yes,
worrywarts? And then they're attracting all these negative things because they're thinking worst case scenario. I'm like, I'm only thinking highest and greatest good. I am blessed. I am protected, and only good things can happen to me. And I
yes,
am on my little happy journey, help being able to be that little conduit so that
yes.
way I can remind people to think that way. Even when bad things happen, we have to remember every disease is just a past vibration in manifestation. It's a
Repeat that
snap.
nice and clear. Repeat that again.
So every disease or every diagnosis is just a past vibration in manifestation. It's a snapshot. It's a Polaroid picture happening in time. Because remember, our cells are not the same cells we were born with. We keep recycling, but a lot of those diseases, people own them. I have this, I am that. But it can, just like it came in, it can go right out.
Well,
And
Dr. Dispenser, right? What does he
yes.
say?
Oh, 100%. I mean, I've
Yeah.
seen him, of course, live on stage talking about this. I have so much testimonials from him. I mean, he's seen, can I just repeat the one you mentioned thyroid before? He literally has scans of someone who had her thyroid surgically removed. And after meditation and being able to go through this whole, like, when the things started rebuilding and
Yeah.
coming back, I'm like, so these are things that we need to realize how powerful we are when we tap in. So it starts with us first. The
Yes.
answers will come to you. We cannot get worried about the how, just allow. Don't worry about the how, just allow. I
I
like
love
that.
that. I love
I
that.
like that one too. I like that
That
one too.
came right from the heart for sure.
Just come and see. And this is how this is where we're just tapping
Yeah.
in. So there is so much knowledge in the ethers that when we
Yes.
start to really clean the vessel, the antenna, the messages are just coming in hot.
Beautiful. Beautiful. So we're going to take this for a landing. Last final thoughts on biohacking that you can share?
So
Golden
biohacking
nugget?
is the wave of the future. Get on the
Yes.
wave now, and you are going to live your best life.
Beautiful. Well, thank you everyone for joining us. Thank you, Yeli, for joining us and sharing your, expertise on this knowledge. People, if you have that strong will to make yourself better and healthier, this is available to everyone. So it's just a matter of doing your homework. So thank you again for joining us. I'm your host, Giovanna Tarderone. Until next time, this is Sparking Change with Gigi. Bye-bye, everyone.
Thank you for joining me on Sparking Change with Gigi. I hope that our episode today has ignited a spark within you to create positive change in your own life and in the world around you. To learn more about how you can become a guest or supporter, head over to sparkingchangenow.com. If you enjoyed today's episode, please consider subscribing, sharing, and leaving a review. Your feedback is incredibly valuable to me, and it helps me to continue producing content that sparks change in each of us and the world. You can find us on various platforms, including Google Play Store, Apple App Store, YouTube, Facebook, Roku, Android TV, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. Thank you again for watching, and I look forward to having you join me again next week on Sparking Change with Gigi.